Break the board sports. It's your boy RJ Cash Cole. Click that like, hit subscribe. MLB Part 2 here on a Tuesday. Again, go to breaktheboardsports.com. Get signed up. Full year, every pick, all the notes. Notes will start getting loaded into the website this week. Sorry I didn't get those up last night, but we'll get them rolling. Let's hop into the back end of the slate here. Got the San Diego Padres at the New York Mets. Now the Padres laying $1.12 plus 105 to come back on the Mets. 50-50 as far as ticket count. Money is not. 85% of the money here is on the New York Mets in this one. It's to where just 15% of the handle is on the San Diego Padres for this one. When you look at last night between these two teams, Mets got the 2-1. Remember, I talked about Nolan McLean there. So that was a lean. Wish I'd played it, but at least hopefully some of you guys that watched the show was able to get home with it. As far as the total, 8.5, 62% ticket count, 88% of the handle pointed towards that under. Now the Mets, they're done and out of it. Padres still have the last wild card spot. They're a game behind the Phillies. They're a game up on the Arizona Diamondbacks here for this one. Now Southpaw going to be a battle of the Southpaws. Robbie Ray going to get the call, but the Mets have beaten the Padres 4 out of 5. And 5 out of 6 here. So they've really got the best of the San Diego Padres. Ray 1-2 with a 2.88 ERA over his last 5 starts. And if you take that game against Houston out, everybody's got one of those, right? 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs allowed. That would be the one that, like, his ERA would be around 2. Against the Brewers his last time out, though, Robbie Ray was incredible. I actually gave him out that game. 4 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs allowed. Now, he faced the Mets earlier this year, back April 2nd, right at the beginning of the season when he was with the Giants. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 runs. He struck out 7, looked really good. Now, the young man, Zach Thornton, he's going to get the call for the Mets, 3-2 with a 2.89. But listen, 3 of his last 4 starts, he's given up at least 3 runs in each and every one of those. So that's something that's a little bit concerning when you look at it. Listen, I think this is going to come down to pick 'em. It's basically right there. I like the San Diego Padres today. I also like the under 8.5 in this game. That would be the way that I ended up leaning. Next game on the board, I gave out the Braves yesterday. Crash and burned. Their 10-game winning streak against the Twins was snapped. 8.5 is the total. 61% of the ticket count, 80% of the handle going over the 8.5. 39% of ticket count, 20% of the handle going to the under 8.5. Now, when you look at the side, again, the Bravos laying $1.24 plus 116 on the Minnesota Twins. 76% of the ticket count, equaling 89% of the handle, laying the $1.24 with the Braves. 24% ticket count, 11% of the handle on the Minnesota Twins here. Your pitching matchup, an interesting one now here in this one. Tyler Mahle, 1-1. With a 2.83 over his last 5 starts. 3 of his last 4 starts has been a shutout or 1 run. His last start against the Mets, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run allowed. If you look, he faced Minnesota twice last year in September. The most recent one, 5 innings, 5 hits, only allowed a run. Now, on the flip side, Zebby Matthews has been an absolute dumpster fire. 3-2 with a 7.5 ERA. He has just absolutely struggled here, has Zebby Matthews. Now, when you look over, the under has cashed in Braves games, their last 4 games against a right-handed starter. And then you look, the over for Matthews is cashed 8 of the last 9 starts he's been involved in. The over is also cashed 7 of the last 8 for the Twins in their last 8 games as a favored. And when Zebby Matthews pitches, you're right, the over again. Over 4-0-1 Matthews' last 5 starts as an underdog here. So one thing that I wanted to look at right off the bat, I like the Braves again. You can find them as low as $1.20 over there at FanDuel. I think I got to roll with them. I run back with them again today. I know they lost for us yesterday. But I'm also looking here. I know, Nerfy is a big thing. I haven't really played those very well. This year, the Braves team total over 4.5, minus $1.10. I think there's value there. And I think minus 110 on the Yerfy for a run to be scored in the first inning. I think that has some legs to it. Again, I like the Atlanta Braves wheeling back with them. again here today. That's which way I'm going to end up going in this game. Braves, again, a comfortable lead there in the AL East. Minnesota Twins, half game back of the wild card. So, again, all these teams jumbled up. You got a lot of everybody's really pushing here coming down the stretch here with about 5 weeks left in the baseball season. Mariners at Brewers here in this one. Now, the Brewers laying $1.45 plus 155 or plus 135 rather, the comeback on the Seattle Mariners as this series gets underway. 7.5 is the total. 63% of the ticket count, 88% of the money is on the over 7.5. 37% ticket count, 12% of the handle on the under. Now, when you look at the sides in this one, the Brewers laying the $1.45 are getting 85% of both ticket count and money. Everybody loves the Brewers. Nobody loves the Mariners. Mariners probably the biggest disappointment in baseball, but somehow, as bad as they are, the Mariners, 7 games under 500, are still just 2 games out of a wild card. Just incredible to even say that. Now, Bryce Miller going to get the call for them, or Brian Miller rather, 3.38 ERA. Kyle Harrison, southpaw of the Brewers, 3.48 ERA. Over the last 10 meetings, going all the way back to 2019, the Brewers have won 8 of the last 10, and more importantly, 3 of the last 4 meetings have went the way of the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, the Mariners had that big losing streak, but they have won 3 of the last 4 games between Yankees and the Astros. Same, though, as the Milwaukee Brewers took 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers team that's just really slumping. Bryce Miller, 0-5 with a 5.93 ERA in his last 5 starts. Kyle Harrison hasn't been much better. 2-3 with a 6.75 ERA. His last time out against San Diego, he only lasted 4 2/3, 10 hits, 8 runs. He got absolutely torched in that game. Now, listen, Miller is winless in his previous 6 starts that he's made. He has just not been very good at all. Kyle Harrison, 9-3 with a 3.47 for the year. But again, he's been bombed over his last 5 starts. I think when you look at this game, I think the best way to attack it, the 7.5, I think that's a little light. I like the over 7.5. I also like doing an alt total here. If you're kind of putting together a parlay, again, you can go alt 5.5, over 5.5 runs with the Indiana Fever, within that also putting in a team I really like today, the Texas Rangers against the Washington Nationals. That's plus 163. And let's get into that game. You got the Nationals at the Rangers. Rangers laying $1.50 plus 135 to come back on the Nats. Nats got some sharp money, it appears. 29% of ticket count, but 53% of the handle. As to where 71% of ticket count equaling 47% of the handle on the Rangers. 8 is your total. 65% of ticket count equaling 85% of the handle. Looking to go over, but to me, just a huge pitching disparity in this. Now, the Rangers and Nationals played a 3-game set in Washington last year. The Rangers took that set 2-1, outscoring the Nationals 9-4. Now, Nationals left-hander Jackson Kent's going to get the call. 6.75 ERA. Cal Quantrill for the Rangers, 4-4 with a 3.34 ERA. He's 0-1 with a 4.50 ERA lifetime against the Washington Nationals. But when I looked at this, the Rangers, obviously Nationals got a little bit of a chance here, but Kent coming off that start against the Cubs, 4 innings, 3 runs allowed, did not look good. As to where Cal Quantrill, if you look at his last 5 starts, 3.42 ERA, 4 of his last 5 starts, he's only given up 1 run. He's been striking out, 6, 7 in his last couple games. Last year against the Nationals, when he was with the Marlins, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs allowed was Quantrill. So when I look at that, I just like the Rangers in this spot. I think they're a better team, obviously, than the Washington Nationals. They're starting to get hot. The over has cashed 4 straight games for the Nationals on the road. It's also cashed 5 straight games to the over when the Nationals are an underdog. Now, the Nationals, though, The Rangers, however, they've played to the under 6 of their last 7 overall. Either way, I still like the Rangers. The Rangers are a play outright for me today. I like them in this spot. The Battle of the Windy City. Now, the Cubs come roaring back last night. I had the under, and it got blown up there late. 8.5 the total today. 69% tick count equaling 85% of the handle is on the over 8.5. 31% tick count, 15% of the handle is on the under 8.5 in this one. Cubs laying a $170 plus 140. Your comeback on the Shy Sox. 79% tick count, 77% of the handle on the Cubs. 21% ticket count, 23% of the handle is on the Chicago White Sox. Now, the White Sox, they have a 4.5 game lead on the Detroit Tigers. That's important. The Cubs, they're 4.5 back of the Brewers. So, again, both these teams, they got to get going here for their, or the White Sox, they got to hold on, but the Cubs got to keep going here. The Cubs have now beaten the Chicago White Sox 7 of the last 10. And this year in 2026, they're now tied 2-2. But man, all 4 games have went to the over when these teams hook up. Your pitching matchup today, Brian Hudson, southpaw of the White Sox. He's going to get the call. This is going to be more of a bullpen day for the White Sox. He is 3-2 with a 1.50 ERA. Kevin Gausman's going to get the call for the Cubs, who came over in the trade from Toronto there at the deadline. His last start was against the Nationals. Did not go well. 4 2/3, 7 hits, 6 runs allowed. Did strike out 7, but was nothing to write home about. Last year when Gausman was with Toronto, he pitched, 2 years ago was the last time he pitched against the White Sox, so you can't really put much stock into that. Listen, I like the over here. Yesterday I was on the under. I got bit. 8.5 is the total. Like I said, you got the White Sox on a bullpen day for this one. So again, just kind of putting things together. If you take the over 5.5 in the Brewers game, alt total, over 6.5 in the White Sox Cubs game, alt total, in the Indiana Fever on the money line, that 3-team parlay brings you back plus 112. I think that's a way you get to the window and monetize your bets. But I like the Rangers as my outright single play here. RJ Cash Cole, Break the Board Sports, giving you stats, trends, information to help you with your handicap. Whether you fade or follow, hope you guys win your bets. God bless and happy handicapping.